Physics gives us insight on spiritual warfare, and here's how. So, today we're going to be talking about friction and some examples, some notes from the video I watched on friction are as long as the object is accelerating, there will be a constant friction opposing it in the opposite direction. When the object is not accelerating, there is no opposing friction. The initial problem was creating equations for each variable until it comes to rest. So that was what was trying to be solved in that particular problem. And so how does friction connect to spiritual warfare? As long as we are accelerating in the spirit, there will be opposing forces, friction, working against us. When we are stagnant, there won't be any friction or opposition as we would be at a standstill. The enemy isn't invested when we're not moving. Only when we are accelerating, moving from glory to glory, is when there starts to be friction. And this friction tugs in the opposite direction of where we are going, which is essentially trying to pull us off of purpose or in the opposite direction that we would be experiencing acceleration. Notice how the original problem was until rest. So this suggests the goal of this accelerating object is rest. If we personify friction a bit, we can say that friction knows the object accelerating in that particular direction will ultimately lead to rest and therefore opposes it in the opposite direction. Now, friction can either be looked at as a force that slows momentum or a force that propels rest. And here is why. If the ultimate goal is to find rest through acceleration, friction enables that. It's that very opposition that helps even get the object or us to our end goal, rest. So there may be a battle along the way, but it is that very resistance, opposition, friction in response to our acceleration that gets us to a state of rest. And Jesus wishes us all to rest. There will be friction and opposition along the way, but the goal, the aim is rest. Rest in Him. Now, there may be several times throughout our lives where we go from rest to accelerating and therefore feel that opposition, then back to that state of rest. The enemy's work is the hardest because he has to calculate how much opposing force is needed to take us off track, to keep us from accelerating. But we know that as long as we are moving forward, there is going to be friction, tension. As the enemy calculates, God already has the equation figured out. In fact, He is counting on that opposition to guide the process of us reaching rest. Often our persistence, endurance, resilience, and ultimately dependency on God is strengthened when we have that opposing factor. It is that very opposition that helps take us deeper and deeper as we accelerate. But the promise is always rest. So if you're currently facing opposition but simultaneously feel like you're seeking God a lot, keep going. Because it's that very opposition that will create the conditions necessary to reach rest. God bless.